Hello, welcome to scr1tno knitting project. My name is Sharon and I'm coming to you from Surrey in the UK, where I live with my family, 3 cats and a dog. Today is January the 9th, 2021, and this is episode 78. Welcome if you're a new viewer, welcome back if you're a returning viewer. Thank you so much for joining me today. This is now Saturday. I started recording this on Thursday and I just keep getting interrupted out of it. Had an interesting work week. It's been quite busy. So my family are around because it's a Saturday. Mind you, my family are around because, you know, it's lockdown too. So there is ambient noise. There's nothing I can do about it. They are going to try and stay a bit quieter if they can. But I've given up trying to find the perfect time, because at the rate I'm going you won't get a podcast at all, so I'm hoping you would prefer this to nothing. Right, so admin first up. All the Cowls. So the square a day has finished. Thank you so much for the entries for that. I have done all the drawing of prizes prior to the recording. I have got video footage of it, but it's hysterical because Alexa throws a fit in the middle of it and can't add up. Well, it can't say numbers. Also, it kept picking 12 and 12 was a deleted post, so I'm not going to put all that footage in, because although it is absolutely hysterical and I might try and put it in as a snippet at some point, I haven't got time to sit there and edit all that out today. So the winners are, for the square a day 2020, was number 3, who is the lovely Brendy. And Brendy, you win a little box of the Giddy Yarn minis, which Helen is going to send direct. So if you can get in touch with me, let me know your address. I will send it across to Helen and she will get those out to you. So congratulations. So I have picked 5 winners for the jumper cowl. 3 have got physical prizes and 2 I'm going to do Etsy vouchers because they're not in the UK and I'm worried about sending internationally at the moment. I will put pictures at the end of your prizes. So number 1 was, or the first one was number 2, who was Lollyboo, who is my lovely friend Julie. Second one was Little Angels G2, which is the lovely Sarah. V Shaw 7, who is Vicky. You are getting a voucher because you, I believe, are in the USA. Then the next one up was So Can Joe, who made the bag, so that was lucky, wasn't it? Who's number 22. And the last one is Carry Me, and I'm sorry, Carry Me, I don't have your name, but also you're going to get a voucher because I believe you're in Canada. So if you are one of those 6 people that I have just mentioned, if you include the square a day cowl, can you drop me a line, let me know you've seen this, and we will arrange to get prizes to you. I'm going to post out the UK prizes. I think I can do a pick up from home, and I think my friend Joe or even Katie, our moderator, has done it before and can tell me how to do it. So that's the finishing off of the old cowls. So now the new cowls for 2021. We're doing the square a day cowl, which is the same rules and regs as last year. The first check-in will be in the end of March and will be for 90 squares, or if you've on a year 2 blanket and you're adding on to that blanket, it's 456 squares. Scary, isn't it? I don't know if anybody is doing that. I haven't gone through my spreadsheet yet, but I will try and do that at some point. So the rule is it's a small piece that you do every day as part of a project, a big project. So we've got crochet, so far that I know about, we've got a crochet Battenberg blanket going on. We have lots of Cosy Memory blankets going on. We have at least 2 northeasterlies going on. I haven't heard of anybody doing a like quilts yet, but quilts are totally allowed. So anything, if you're working on granny stripe, that was the other one, we've got some granny stripes going on as well. So anything you're working on every day. I myself am doing a Christmas crochet square blanket, which is just little mini granny squares. They're 5 rounds of a granny square. So the idea is that the concept behind this originally was that it was something that you could do for yourself every day. So just take 10 minutes if that's all the time you can get, or if you've only got 2 minutes, if you can stick around the edge of a hexie, that could work for you. It's just to give yourself some time to work on something that's going to end up as a big project by the end of the year. And if you see the Cosy Memory blankets, they are huge. Now mine is a finished object, which is here. So this is my one. I haven't sewn in my end. How naughty is that? I have one end to sew in and I haven't done it. But it's, and I haven't put my tag on actually for 2020 to say it's the 2020 blanket, but it's done. So I'm going to try and stand up and you can see it. So you can see that by the end of the year, now my squares are 20 stitches by 20 stitches, so it's a 40 stitch cast on to do the square. And you can see it ends up as a lovely, I mean it's more than my wingspan, but then my wingspan's not that big. It works up as a lovely blanket, and I reckon it's about 4 foot, probably 4 foot square. It's definitely big enough to curl up under on the sofa and make a really nice camp blanket on your camp bed. So they do, by the end of the year, give you a substantial blanket. Now, at the end of the year, you can either decide, if you've got one that you've got to that size and you want it bigger, you could either carry on adding to it, or if you wanted to, you could start another one, which is what I've done, and you could sew them all together and get a giant one. If you've got 4 of them, you could have a massive one. I have 3 out of 4, but I'm taking a break this year from Cosy Memories, so that might take a little while. Also, with daughters moving out, I'd like to gift that to them. So at the moment, it's sitting there and we'll probably go out, probably go with Casey, whether she wants it or not. She's in the kitchen. So that's the details for the square a day. If you've got any questions, drop me a message. You can email me at scr1tno@outlook.com. Leave a comment underneath this video. We have got threads open on Ravelry, but I realise that that isn't as available to everybody. So just feel free to message me, leave comments below, and Instagram, of course. Okay, so that's the square a day. And the new cowl for 2021 is the stripy sock cowl. Now I have got a drawer full of balls of like the proper hand wound stopper balls full of stripy sock yarn. Actually, I'm going to put a picture up. And I was looking at it the other day whilst I was working out, and I always add to that drawer. I never take anything out of it. So this is the year of the stripy sock. So the idea is from February onwards, because I'm a bit late for January now, from February onwards we are going to have a monthly cowl, a monthly thread to check in for finished socks. So the first one, which will be February, I will draw for prizes on the 1st of March. If you are a dyer and you or a maker and you would like to donate, that would be fab, because I'm going to need a few prizes for this one. But I'm also going to have a few rules and regulations. First of all, 1 pair of full-size adult socks or 2 pairs of shorties, or 4 baby socks is an entry, or 2 child socks as well. So 1 pair of adult socks, 2 pairs of shorty adult socks, 4 pairs of baby socks or 2 pairs of children's socks are 1 entry. Now, each month there is going to be a dyer of the month and a commercial yarn of the month. For instance, in February, the dyer of the month is my lovely friend Jenny, who is Woolly Goodness and does some amazing self-striping yarn, and there is some in her shop if you want to go and check it out, ready for February if you haven't already got it. Or opal yarn. So you can use either of those, or you can use any that you like. If you use one that isn't one of those 2, you only get 1 entries. If you do use Woolly Goodness or opal, you get 2 entries. If you can knit 2 pairs of socks and you've got 1 pair of Woolly Goodness and 1 pair of opal, you'd get 4 entries. Is that making sense? So that is our February one. I am going to publish this all on Instagram, and it will be in the show notes below this video. It is all on Ravelry if you have access to Ravelry. So I'm going to run through what the dyers are going to be. If I've left one off that you've got tons of in your stash, let me know and I will add it in. But the idea isn't so much to go and buy the yarn, but more to use what you've got in your stash. But if you haven't got as many balls as I've got, and you want to buy some, then if you want to buy it for the die of the month, then you get your 2 entries. So the dies are February, Woolly Goodness and Opal. March is Desert Vista Dye Works and Fab Funky Fibres and Regia. April is Good Yarns and King Cole. May is Aloni Sock Lady and Zalba Ball. June is Fibre Nymph Dye Works and West Yorkshire Spinners. July is Bumbling Yarns, which is Crafter's Balm, and I think it's pronounced Scholl and Stahl. August is Down Sheepy Lane and Lang, who do jar wool. September is Sweet Sparrow Yarns and London House Yarns and Paytons. October is the Yarn Badger and Knit Picks. November is Country Mouse Yarns and Paperbox. And December you are free to use anyone, but Christmas or winter theme gives you an extra entry. So I've got one to add to it that I've got a skein of here, which is a Canadian dyer. Now if you are from a different country, because obviously that is really UK heavy, and you want me to add anything, let me know and I will add it into later months. But when I've published this list, you might want to have a look at your stash, and if you've got, say you've got some London House, you might look at it and go, actually I'll keep that for September, but I might have something else for earlier on. You can use scrappy socks, you can make scrappy socks. If you do scrappy socks and you do it from the die of the month, so say you've got loads of scraps from Woolly Goodness, or indeed you had her advent calendar, that works too, you can make scrappy socks and you would get 2 entries. Yes, you can make pattern socks. That was a question that I think my lovely friend Jo has just asked on Ravelry. Yes, you could knit socks with stripes in them, of course, no worries at all. As long as it's stripy socks by the end of it, absolutely fine. Yeah, and as I said, if you're in a different country, obviously I don't think I've got any Australian dyers on there, and I don't think I've got that much in the way of European, other than my lovely friend Lone. So if you're from one of those countries and you'd like that added, let me know and I will add that in for you, and we'll, you know, add it through down to the through the months. But February will be Woolly Goodness and Opal. I mean, hopefully, I mean, most people will have some Opal, I should imagine, in their stash. And Woolly Goodness, she does some absolutely amazing self-striping yarn. So if you want to check out her website, all the links for the makers will be down below, as and when I talk about them. So I'm not going to do the whole lot to start off with, because that might take me a while, but obviously you can just Google them and find them anyway. Whips are allowed, so if you've got a stripy sock sitting in a bag somewhere and say it happens to be London House Yarns, you look at it and go, well, London House Yarns is September, oh, I might just keep that for September, and then you're almost done. So whips totally allowed. It doesn't matter even if you've just got the Kitchener to do, you can add it in, that's fine. So check in, Woolly Goodness, the double entry will end at the end of February. However, if you start it in February and you don't get it finished, that's fine. Enter it in March, you just get 1 entry, not 2. Okay, hopefully that all makes sense. If it doesn't, message me, I will answer any questions. Yeah, I'm really excited about this one. I'm really looking forward to taking part myself. Looking forward to it. Right, let's get into the main part of the podcast, because I think I'm like 20 minutes in. I haven't actually shown you any knitting yet. Post-Christmas, the knitting project is working a little bit differently. And rather than going day by day, I'm actually going project by project and doing a rotation of projects. It's still the same effect, but because what I'm using mainly is minis, I'm just doing 1 mini in each project. So first up is my friendship blanket, and that's living in my lovely bag that my lovely friend Jo, who is SoCan Jo, gifted me last year. And my blanket grew, so it needed a bigger bag. This is actually my sweater bag, but so over Christmas, and if you've watched my Vlogmas you would have seen it, my lovely friends and I did a swap, and we I've opened all the little minis, and I'm putting them in day order. So I've got 4 minis per day to go in, because there was 4 of us that did swaps. And I'm making a giant granny square, basically. Trying to find my little keeper so it doesn't. So this is my giant granny square. Now, one of this I finished putting in this year's. I'm going to see whether. Oh, actually, I've got. So I'm going to the leftovers that I've got from Kelly's thing that I'll show you later. I'm going to put that in as well, and then I'm going to see how big this is, because then I think it might be finished. So I'm going to stand up again, because this is beautiful. I'm so pleased with it. It kind of changes the look each side, because they're minis, and this is getting quite big now. It's only sort of a row per colour almost. Nearly there, nearly all the way around. That pink really pops. That's got to be from my friend Katie, she likes her neons. So all I've done is just do a giant granny square and just keep going round and round and round. I've done that because I suck at doing granny stripes. They end up like that. I didn't want it to do that, so I have done a square, giant square, but it's actually really big now. So I'm thinking that once I've finished this and I've put in the minis that I've got from my lovely friend Kelly, then that'll be done, and I will start a new one next year. So that is going to stay in the rotation until I put all the minis in to it. It might have to have a break whilst I catch up with the project that I'm using Kelly's minis for. So that's number 1, is my friendship blanket. So number 2 are socks, and my lovely friend Kelly, who is Les Family Yarn, and the lovely Jules from So Sweet Violet are running a year-long cowl for the Rainbow Chronicles, which is going to be knitting socks of certain colours, and then by the end of the year you'll have 12 pairs of rainbow coloured socks. Kelly's dyeing yarn for it, and she's doing 10 gram mini scrappy packs, which I've shown I think during Vlogmas, and I have got some for Happy Mail later on. And the first month of January is pink, so I used her pink pack and made scrappy socks, which would totally, can I say, count for the cowl. So if you you're doing this, you're welcome to double dip. You're welcome to double dip with anything, but you're welcome to double dip and enter them in my cowl as well as in Kelly's and Jules's. There's also Stripy. So that's what I'm doing. I'm going to use the minis. Now I speed knitted these because I wanted to see how many sections I needed to make a full-size sock for me, and so the idea is that I can do a section a day on these socks in the month and get them done. But I needed to see how long it would take me to do that. There are 2. How long it would take me to do that, so I could work out whether I needed to do a section a day, whether I could stick them in the rotation, or what I needed to do. But it is a section a day. But yeah, so I'm really pleased with those. So this is yarn by Crafts Bumbling Yarns, who is trying to find I haven't got one, haven't got a tag, who's lovely Laura, who is a lonely knitter, and this is, and the bells are ringing out, which was a lovely self-striping Christmas colourway. And I got the first sock done, which I love. I particularly love the whole cream and speckle in between. I love that. If I see that, I'm going to buy it. And then I am on the main part of the leg of this sock, of sock number 2. As you can see, unusually for me, these are on a magic loop pair of socks, which if you've watched Vlogmas, I think I showed it, I may not have done. When I was sorting out the needles for the Rainbow Chronicles, I ran out of sock needles. So temporarily these are I'm magic looping them, but I will when I get a chance buy another set of needles, because I really don't like magic loop. I'm a too circular girl, so I will at some point find another one. But I'm also using my sock needles in my mittens, and they've got 4 in them because I'm doing them concurrently, which we'll see in a minute. Obviously I'm doing the Rainbow Chronicles concurrently, so that's another 4. And then I had, did I put that on that pair, or did I had another pair of socks I had to steal some sock needles for, and I think those are on a different, they're on metal needles, so I think this was the only wooden pair I had left. I'm not certain about that. That might be on the wooden pair, in which case I may nick them and put them on something else. But anyway, I digress. So that's my next one. So the next, after I've put my mini into my granny blanket, I knit, or I would be if it was February, it's not at the moment because I've finished those socks. I would knit a mini into both those Rainbow Chronicle socks, and then I'll also do a pattern, a stripe repeat on this, so it would be the white one and the pattern is what I would do on it. And then when I've done that, I go on to the next project. So eventually everything gets done. I don't seem to have had sock day for days, but I think it's because I've been working on the Rainbow Chronicle socks and got them finished. I kind of didn't do sock rotation, so I'm looking forward to going back to doing these. I love these. I love this bag too. It's so sad when I have to put that away. It's one of my favourite Christmas bags. So that's project number 2. So project number 3 is hanging out in my Elderflower Stitches bag. Now, theoretically, this came as part of the Christmas Advent or Christmas box last year, but it's got snowdrops on it. So I'm saying this is spring, so I can keep it out because I love this bag so much. In here is my Elderflower Stitches Advent, which if I show you this one, you can see this is what you got, and this is a DK. It's a DK weight yarn, and it's dyed in a very subtle colour change. So I thought I could get away with making a jumper in it, and this is how it's looking. I really love it, really love it. So what I'm doing is, for each mini, now because I've split off and I'm doing the sleeves, so that's one sleeve, there, and that's the other sleeve, there, and then obviously I've got the body. So each mini is 20 grams. I'm splitting it into one 10 gram mini, which I'm using on the body, and then I'm splitting the other into 2 5 gram minis, which I'm using on the sleeves, and that's how it's working up. So I've got that many rows on the sleeves, so it's actually, because that's faded into it, it's quite difficult to see. So it's about there, it's about 5 rows there, and then that many rows on the body. Oh, let's show it to you the right way around, which is also about 5 rows. So it's working out quite well, and I absolutely love it. Absolutely love this. It's flashed a little bit there, but no big deal. It's flashed pink on the back of it as well. So I think the way that some of the yarns are dyed, that some of them are going to flash from time to time, in which case it's going to look intentional. But yeah, I absolutely love this. I'll be honest and say it's all I want to work on. And also, because it's DK, it's mini knits up really quickly. Even though I'm doing sleeve, sleeve, then the body, I could do it, well, not even an evening, half an evening, I get it done. So it's quite disappointing. I get through it really quickly, but there is a good chance at some point I'll go, yeah, you know what, I'm just working on this. But I love it, I really do love it. So next up is my mitts, and they're living in this lovely bag by Ollie and Bella. And sadly this one is going to have to go away because it is definitely Christmas, but I shall look forward to getting it out next year. And I am doing the Show Us Your Scraps fingerless mitts by the lovely Laura of the Lonely Knitter podcast. And I am that far, so I've done 2 minis on this one. I think I must have missed the mitts one a couple of times somehow. So this is the next one in the rotation. So this is using my Advent from Giddy Yarns, and I'm loving how this is knitting up. Really am. By the looks of it, I will have enough yarn left to make another pair. I'll be able to get 2 pairs out of it. But yeah, so this is the first 2 minis. It's not quite as orange as it's coming up on screen. And yeah, as I said, this is one of the reasons why I have no sock needles, because I'm doing these on 2 circulars too. I use 2 circulars for anything that requires being knit in the round, except for sleeves. Sometimes I'll do it on sleeves if I haven't got small enough needles, circumference needles, but mainly I do that just going round and round in circles. But yeah, these are lovely. This is a lovely pattern, and it's great for using Advents. So that's, she tells you where to change colour, etc, etc. Fab. I'm doing the second size on it, and I'm using 2.5mm needles. But yeah, so that's my mitts one. I'm really enjoying those. I know it doesn't look like it, but I am. And I actually need to get them done because today is the 9th, and 1 pair of those needs to go in a birthday present that needs to be hand delivered. It's only around the corner, luckily, on the 12th. And the other one needs to go to Poland for the 17th. So I really need to get a move on with that. Really need to get a move on with that. Oops. So that's project number 4, and that's mitts. So project number 5 is hanging out in my lovely bag from Taffety Mouse. I adore this bag. I really need to take its label off at some point, but that's her. That's Taffety Mouse. And we're gonna... Okay, we don't know whether we're focusing or not. Yeah, I love this. And this is the Kalani scarf by Amy Loudon, who's Taylor S Studio. And I won't lie, it's a bit of a challenge. I've nearly given up. I haven't quite, because I really want the finished object. So this is very much a product, not a process knit at the moment. Now, I'm living in hope that once I've finished all of the section B's, of which there are 4 and I've done 1, section C, I believe, is a lot easier. And it is worth it. I mean, it's gorgeous. It's really pretty. And this is with my, let's do it that way around, which is the right side. This is with my Advent from Dandelion and Dogwood, which Amy is part of the dyer behind, her and her sister. So I've got 2 minis in, and I'm just starting my 3rd mini at the top there. I've just striped the 3rd mini in, and I really like it. I really like it, but no 2 rows are the same. I mean, the whole thing is repeated, so that's a section B. That pink, dark pink, is a section B. but there's not even any rest rows on like the wrong side, so it's a bit of a labour of love. It's a brilliantly written pattern. I mean, there's nothing against the pattern, it's just a lot of lace work. And although I don't mind lace work, it's this, when I get to the needing, or when I get to putting the mini in this, this stalls me for a couple of days, because it takes me a couple of days to do a pattern repeat, which a pattern repeat is an entire mini, so you use a mini per pattern repeat. So yeah, it does take me a little bit longer to do this one, but it's very pretty and it's going to be a lovely scarf, and I do want it. I want the finished object. So that's the mini I'm currently putting in. It's going to be really pretty, and I'm using Rowan Kid Silk Haze with it, but I think I'm going to run out of this. I've managed to find some Hedgerow Yarns one, and I've got 2 more of these or 3 more of these, but I haven't got much of this one left, and I've only done 2 sections. So yeah, I'll get back to you on that, but it is gorgeous, and it's very soft and squidgy. But yeah, I may need some of my lovely friend Kelly's energy balls as a reward to get me through that one, if I'm honest. But I don't want to put anybody off doing it, because it is gorgeous, and hopefully I'll feed back a bit more when I get onto section C, because I think that's a lot easier. I think it's just a small cable, and the rest of it's just texture stitches, but at the moment I'm finding it heavy going, and I am magic knotting all of my leftovers into a magic knot ball. I'm not sure what I'm going to do with said magic knot ball. All I've done is decided that I was going to magic knot ball it, but then I figured if I want to use them as minis, I could always undo the knots. It's not the end of the world, is it? So yeah, so that's project number 5 is the Killarney scarf. So project number 6 is hanging out in my lovely sheep bucket that my lovely friend Kelly got me from Lay Family Yarn, and is an advent, bless her, that she made for a countdown for my birthday. And I am doing the Heart and Cowl by Helen Stewart, which is a pattern from this year's Knit Vent. And this is how it's looking at the moment. It's looking really untidy. It's looking super untidy. I mean, it's not helped by the fact that I've got it in tiny circumference needles, so it's a bit strangled, but, and it's also covered in, oh dear, it's covered in ends. I'm not quite sure what I've done with all the ends. Can we all go through that way? Ends all go inside, please. Do you know what? We're giving it up. We're just going to show it. So it started off with this lovely rib section here. Then that's a stripe of 2 colours. Then we've got a little bit of lace. I can cope with that amount of lace. And then I've just done another stripe section, and then I think the next thing is another lace. I'm loving how these colours are looking. So these are the leftovers that are going to go in my friendship blanket when I've finished the other minis that I'm putting in. So the leftovers from this project. Yeah, I like this. I saw a couple of finished ones recently, and they look so nice on, so I'm really looking forward to getting it. But yeah, this is the Heart and Cowl by Kira's Handmade, which from Knit Vent 2020. And it is so much fun to work on, especially when you're on these stripe rows, because you can just sit and telly-watch with those, which is nice. This is what I was knitting on last night. I was watching the Queen's Gambit. If you watched that, it's really good. And yes, I have watched Bridgerton like everybody else. That was also really good. So I watched the Queen's Gambit when I finished that, and I've watched Virgin River. So when I finished the Queen's Gambit, I'm going to watch the rest of The Crown, because I haven't finished that yet, and then Sabrina. just give you a rundown of what I'm watching at the moment. Part of the conversation, isn't it? So I'm using 3.5mm needles. No, they're not 3.5, they're 3mm needles. And yeah, that I'm not doing on 2 circulars. I'm just going round and round in circles because it is quite a small circumference needle compared to the amount of stitches that are on here. There's what, 300? Yeah, there's 300 stitches on here. Yeah, and I love it. Really enjoying that one. I do love the knit vent patterns. There are some mitts, I think, as well that go with that, which I may do with some of my mitt rotation at some point. So that's the end of the projects that I'm rotating. Going into what I'm doing for my square a day. So my square a day is hanging out in this lovely bag for Busy Pottery. It's a seaside bag, and it's my blanket bag. And then inside that, I have got another bag, which I will show you in a minute. So this is the first part of what I can show you. So this is what I've already got done on my blanket. So this is a Christmas granny square blanket, and the idea is for us to have it out only at Christmas. And the idea behind the colours are if they say Christmas to me or the dyer has classed them as Christmas, I will use them in here. So that's that side. The idea is to have one plainer and one more variegated. That's that side, and then that's that side. So it's actually quite big. In fact, it's massive. It's way past my wingspan. If I show you there, you can get an idea of all the colour repeats. The idea is that it's going to be huge and go on the sofa. And I've crochet a square. So I do 5 rounds of granny and of treble clusters. But each time I finished a round, I stop and I go back the other way. I turn it round and go back the other way, so you get very square squares. Also, I am joining them together that way each time I finish one, which I'll show you in a minute on the other one. And then when I've finished a strip, I am joining them long ways down there. So I've got 1, 2, 3, 4. I've got 5 strips already done, and it's I think it's 20 squares. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, yeah, 20 squares. So it should be 400 squares when it's finished. So I have decided that I'm going to put it into my rotation of my square a day, so I can get that done, hopefully by Christmas this year. I mean, in reality, it probably will be Christmas next year. So the one I'm working on at the moment is in this bag, which is a lovely bag from Craft House Magic, which is very wintry. And in here, I have got all the bits I need to do it. So first of all, this is the grey, and this is called Silver Bells, and it's from Yantan. I am currently stalking her to see when her shop comes back online because I need another ball. I have a magic knot ball of leftovers that is undressing itself. Naughty magic knot ball. So that's my magic knot ball of leftovers. I'm going to crochet this into another Christmas blanket, but I'm going to do a corner to corner when that's done. And then this is one of my current minis, so I've always got 2 minis on the go because I alternate squares. So that's one of them. And these were from Homespun House. And that's the other one. So that's my crazier. Oh, it's alive. So that's my crazier one, and then that's my plain one. And I don't know whether, did I keep her label? Is that one of her little labels? Yeah, that's one of her little labels. One of these is called the Wet Bandit. So that's her little label. So the theme there is Home Alone. I'm using a 3mm clover crochet hook for this, and this is my current one. This is what it's looking. So this is what, these are the squares I've done since the right, so those squares I already had done. These I already had done. I thought that one said, you know the black Christmas trees you can get with like the silver sparkle on it? That kind of screamed that to me. And I lightened it up by just doing the plain green with it. And that's where I restarted it. And then these are the ones I've done since the 1st of January. So this is this one. So each repeat, this is one half of a repeat. So this is 10 squares. And then there's 5 of each colour. So there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 of that colour. And then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 of that colour. So that's one half of it, of a stripe, and that's 10, which you can get out of a 20 gram mini. And then this is another half, of which I've done 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. I've done 4 of each on this. So I've got 8, so I've got 2 more to do before I draw in this strip to the next strip. So theoretically, by the time, it's not next week, it's the week after, by the time you next see this, it will be attached to the main body. But there's no podcast next week because, well, at the moment there's no podcast next week because Kate and Dan are moving house on Friday, and I'm hoping to help them over the weekend, but now we're in lockdown, we don't know whether that's going to happen, whether we can actually do that. So either way there won't be a podcast because I will still be trying to sort things this end. So that's my square a day, is doing one of these. I do one of these squares a day and I attach it and I sew in my ends. So that's my daily square. So where's the end of it? There we go. So my daily square is to do the square, attach it to the previous one and make sure I sew the ends in. So I haven't got 9 million ends to sew in, because believe you me, sewing in 4 ends of a morning is better than sewing all the ends of this in when it's finished. I get 4 ends because I get an end on each side of this, grey bit too, and then I get the middle and the end of this. But yeah, so I'm really enjoying that. I'm really enjoying the difference of having crochet to the Cosy Memory blanket. It is nice to have a year off the Cosy Memory blanket. Well, so far, of course, there is always a possibility I will really miss it and then decide that I'm going to do one anyway. But at the moment, I'm enjoying this. I'm enjoying making the progress on it. And I plan on using that for quite a few of my whips blankets for the moment to get them finished, because I think that's a good way of doing it, putting it on my square a day. So next year's might be my Battenberg blanket. Right, so that's my square a day. So next up is Happy Mail, and my other friend Jo pointed out this beautiful self-striping from Tiny Human Knits, who is a Canadian dyer, and it's called Hoarfrost. It's just a little 50 gram, but it's so pretty. So this arrived, I ordered it before Christmas, so it hung around for quite a while. But I have put Tiny Human Knits onto my list? I can't remember now. No, I will add Tiny Human Knits to my list. It was quite funny actually, because when I was looking for other dyers, I put Country Mouse yarns on, and I happened to be on her Etsy shop and bought one. Oh, dreadful, isn't it? But yeah, so that's that one. And then next up is the Club from Giddy Yarn. So if you've not had your December Nostalgia Club minis, please look away. And this is them. They're fab, aren't they? So I've got to decide what I'm going to do with these, because I haven't used any of my Nostalgia Club. Well, I say I haven't used any of them. I think I've got one that I've pulled out for my Christmas blanket, But yeah, I haven't really used these, so I need to think of a fun project to put these in. I've really enjoyed this. I love Helen's clubs. Love them. I'm so looking forward to the DK one. Next up is a Christmas mini box I got from Helen from Giddy Yarns. These are destined for my Christmas blanket. They're really cute. So pretty. Whether they go into the main blanket, because I think these are only 5 grams, so I don't think they're really... I don't know, they might... There's 5, isn't there? I've got 2 boxes of these. So that's 10. I might do one of each of these as a centre of the blanket. So for the centre run, that's an idea. I'll get back to you on it. But they're definitely going in my blanket. So that's that one. And then my lovely friend Kelly sent me this beautiful box, which is the keepsake box for the Rainbow Chronicles. So my socks are going to go in here. And then in January next year, I can open this up and I will have 12 lovely pairs of socks. And inside it is March's minis. Now they have misbehaved and had a party on their way over to me, so I'm really sorry, they're a bit scorched up. But so pretty, and I absolutely adore Kelly's peaches. A couple of my favourite ones in her colourways are peach colours. And yeah, these are beautiful. I think you can see them okay. So they're going to say neatly, safely, maybe not neatly, in their package until March, when it's March's turn. Yeah, love this. Again, this is the Rainbow Chronicles. I'm really, really enjoying being part of this. So that's my happy mail. And lastly, it's just news from the knitting project. So Kate and Dan are due to move on Friday on the 15th. So fingers crossed that is going to happen. They've done everything, it's just literally completion. So hopefully it's all going to complete. Originally we were going to be doing things like cleaning the house and stuff for them, but although we can help them move because we're part of their bubble, they're moving to a block of flats, so we don't really want to annoy their neighbours, you know, by having loads of people there. So we will see what transpires with that next weekend, and I will let you know. If she doesn't mind and I do get down there, I will take some video and show you on the next podcast. Meg is at school, she is working, so she's a key worker, she is a learning assistant, so she is looking after the key worker children that they've got in. So they're remote learning in their labs, and they've each got a group, so they're bubbled with certain children. It sounds very safe, to be fair. So she's in 4 out of 5 days, I think, and 1 day working from home. At least she was last week. Whether that changes this week, we don't know. Otherwise, my bulbs are growing. That's exciting. I've got little shoots coming through all over the place. So of my, I think, 600 bulbs I planted, hopefully some of them are working, so I'm really looking forward to seeing all those come up. It's so exciting. I haven't got any other crafts to show you as such. I have got, actually, I could have stuck that in Happy Mail, couldn't I? But I didn't. I've got this with my Amazon vouchers. Basically, it's 360 days of art in nature. Now, I can't draw. I cannot draw to save my life. But I am enjoying doodling. And I don't even want to show you this, really. The first prompt was fill the page with doodles of leaves. You may feel like adding colour afterwards. Well, I sort of did leaves. I just did whatever I felt like, to be honest. I did some words. And then the next one was drawing outside amongst nature is a brilliant way to relax. Once outside, sit somewhere you feel comfortable and draw something from nature which takes your interest. It could be a plant, an animal, the sky, or the whole scene in front of you. tip. It doesn't really matter what you draw or what your end product looks like. Well, that's just as well. This task is mostly about enjoying being amongst nature and switching off from the demands of your life. Try to relax and focus completely on drawing. Well, I went outside. It was way too cold yesterday to do that. So I decided I wanted to draw a cherry tree, which is just literally, as I sit here, it's just there. I can see it. It's just out the window. So you can see the view I've got because it's on the page. So that's my view of my cherry tree, and that is my very bad cherry tree. The one thing actually I do like is I have got kind of got the shape of it. That kind of worked. I mean, the trunk is awful, but I did kind of get the shape of it, so I was slightly happier about the fact that I got the shape of it. But yeah, so it was a fun exercise. What's today's? Oh, I might be able to cope with that. Create a page of beautiful overlapping butterflies. You could add patterns and details, bodies and antennae. A group of butterflies is called a kaleidoscope. I did not know that. A kaleidoscope of butterflies. So add the details to that page, basically. I can probably manage that. The next one is going to be hysterical. Fill the page with guinea pigs. The only way I know how to draw guinea pigs involves finger painting them. Did anybody else do that as a child? 2 fingerprints and then just draw the details on? I suppose I could find some ink and finger paint. But yeah, I just thought, you know what, it's just a few minutes a day, isn't it? Going through it and just having some fun. I'm still doing my journal. I've got my journal all set up. I would show you that, but I cannot see it, so I don't know where that's gone. Yeah, no idea where that is. It's right in front of me, housing the show notes. Oh, that's funny. So I've made it a little bit more colourful this year, with things like I've stuck, you know, my sticker book, my botanical sticker book, and stuck pictures on. So it's kind of more botanical than sort of, I've tried to colour coordinate pages and stickers and things. So it's very colourful, if nothing else. I need to do the week review on that as well, because I have not done that yet. Yeah, so otherwise, work's insanely busy, stupid busy. In fact, I was working yesterday when I wasn't supposed to be, and I was supposed to be recording the podcast, so that was fun. Yeah, I'd got to, I think, lunchtime yesterday, and I was like, no, I'm done. I'm just going to sit and knit for the rest of the day. I can't have a conversation with the camera after all that. So, apologies, I don't think I've got an awful lot of vlog footage, if anything at all. I don't think they're going to get too much after this. I will hopefully have some photos of the prizes and the prize winners. Names, that is, not the actual photos of the prize winners, because that would be odd. But yeah, that should hopefully follow. And hopefully I'll try and vlog something for next week, but we're not going anywhere and we're not doing anything because we're all at home in lockdown, which is super fun. Right, I'm going to call it a day there. So I hope you're all okay wherever you are. Take care, and I'll see you the week after next.